Chassidish girls and the Chassidish women, and you should bring a lot of nachas to the Rebbe. By being here just reminds me of quite a while ago, and I remember the Rebbe went to Camp Gan Yisrael. This was 61 years ago. Tov which was 1960. So the Rebbe went to camp. He went to Camp Gan Yisrael, the boys, and from there he went to the girls' camp, which in New York is called Camp Amunah. Here it's called Camp Gan Yisrael. And the Rebbe explained the importance of being in camp and the greatness of being in camp. The camp that's under the guidance of the Rebbe. So you can imagine how special that is. It's a time, a place where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're under the great influence of the Rebbe. Like this, when you go to school during the year, you're in school for certain hours, and then when you go home, but here you're under the Rebbe's influence for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's a great schus. So, all I can tell you, continue, and it should be a source of nachas. Just want to mention, just reminds me, which I know that whenever we talk about it, it's pretty interesting. Quite a few years ago, maybe about 40 years ago, my wife and myself were sent by the Rebbe to Russia. Russia at that time was still not like now where you have Yiddishkeit there. Russia was under the communists, and people couldn't keep Yiddishkeit in the open. And we saw there boys, little girls, who kept Yiddishkeit under the hardest circumstances. Actually, I remember we came to a person and we showed him a picture of our kids, which happened to be boys, playing in camp. And one of the people says, you saw him playing in camp with the tzitzis sticking out. Is it okay to have your tzitzis out in camp? Reminded me because you were learning before Sefer HaMitzvahs, which is the mitzvah tzitzis. And he said, and the FBI doesn't care that you wear tzitzis? I said, no, the FBI doesn't care you wear tzitzis. But by us, he said, the KGB cares that you wear tzitzis. And the little children knew how important it is to keep Yiddishkeit as hard as it is. Just to give an example, I was giving a class, Pabrengi with some men, and some boys were there, and my wife went to give a class to some women. But they couldn't make up clearly where it's going to be because they were afraid that the government is going to listen on, their phones were bugged, and they're going to listen, they're going to find out that they're having a class. So they had to be very quiet. And they made up that my wife is going to stand by a corner, a certain corner, and a lady is going to walk by with a red scarf. She won't say anything to you, she won't talk to you. But if you see her walking by, just follow behind. When you follow behind, when you get to a certain house, she's going to take you in. So she took her in under her coat, so no one said she was just taking her in. And she went in to give a class to teach Torah to the women and to the girls. You could imagine? And they did it, even though it was hard, because they knew this is the right thing to do. And I was at the same time giving a class, actually, a Fabrenge, to some of the men. And we were sitting a room within a room, so no one should realize it. But on the, downstairs, when we went into the building, there was this old lady who was supposed to be like a guard. And she was told that if you see, told by the government, if you see anything suspicious, call us, call the police department, call the KGB. So she realized that there are people going into the apartment. We were sitting up and there was a bottle of mashti on the table. And there was a knock on the door. Can you imagine? Over there, when there's a knock on the door, all the people who were sitting there, including myself, felt a knock on your heart. Who knows who's coming? And the host walked out of the room, very scared. He walked to the front door, and he comes back and he says, "We got a problem." This lady realized that there's something doing here, and she came up to check what this is, and she is ready to call the KGB, which is the police department. You never know what's going to be. But when he says, "I'll try this," He took the bottle of mashke that's on the table, and he took a glass, big glass, and he filled it up with mashke, and he says, I'm going to try this, maybe this will work. He walked out with the glass of mashke, gave it to her to drink. This old lady, looked like an 80-year-old lady, comes back in with an empty glass. And he says to me, in Hebrew actually, it didn't do the trick. She's still ready to go to the KGB and tell that we're having this Fabringen here. And basically, all the people there are in trouble, and I'm in trouble. And he filled up the glass again, and he says, I'll try again. He walks out. 5 minutes later, he comes back with an empty glass. She drank the second glass again, and now she said, okay, for that, I'm going to be quiet and not say anything. And this is how the way they lived. And they kept Yiddishkeit, Mesiras Nefesh. So when we were there, we were thinking, here in America, we could keep Yiddishkeit, we could go to camp and be the way a Yid is supposed to be, and like you said, the tzitzis could come out and we have no problems. So certainly we have to try to be the way we're supposed to be frum and to be Siddish and to do exactly what the Torah wants, what the Rebbe wants, what the Eibishter wants. So I want to finish off. I want to wish you that you should have Atzlocha Rabbi, a lot of success here in camp, and take this spirit of camp. One thing I see, the camp has a lot of spirit. I'm not used to really seeing how it goes on in the girls' camps. The boys' camps I know a little bit. The girls say, when I see Baruch Hashem, you have a lot of ruach, and you can see this is not just, it's just Siddish ruach. Continue to take the ruach from camp to out the whole year later on, and have success. Give nachas to your parents, give nachas to Klal Yisrael, give nachas to the Rebbe, give nachas to the Eibishter. And now we're in the 9 days, and we're really waiting for Mashiach, and this is the time of the year when we could do more to bring Mashiach. So, if you continue in this way, Mashiach will come very soon, and we hope that by the time the end of the week comes, Tisha B'Av comes, Tisha B'Av we will not have to fast, and we will celebrate because by then Mashiach will have come, and we will have the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, and we hope it will be very soon. Hatzlacha Rabbi.